Construction continues at a rapid pace over at Epic Universe. In this video, we'll take a look at the latest progress. We'll start off by taking a look at the concept art. Starting in the bottom left corner, you can see the park entrance, followed by Super Nintendo World and Universal Classic Monsters. In the center, you can see the central hub. There's an attraction of some sort here. No one really knows what it is just yet. You can also see the Grand Helios Hotel in the center in the very back. And on the right hand side, there's a land for How to Train Your Dragon, a dueling coaster, and another land for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Here's where the property sits in relation to the current Universal Orlando Resort. It is located up the road, up Kirkman Road. It's near the Orange County Convention Center, just a couple miles away from the Universal Orlando Resort. And you can see where it sits exactly here on Google Maps. The yellow star at the top of the page, of course, is the current Universal Orlando Resort, and the one at the bottom is Epic Universe. And we'll make a couple passes over the resort here in a helicopter. Here we are taking off in Kissimmee. And you'll be able to see the construction site here straight ahead as we are making our way there. This was filmed just earlier this week, so this will give you a good look at what it looks like currently. Now, before we look at the current progress, we'll go back in time here. Now, this is back on June 10th, 2021 of last year. This was the opening day of Velocicoaster. And here we are flying in. We're approaching from the south. That's Destination Parkway down below there. And you can see there wasn't a whole lot of progress here. They did stop construction during the pandemic. It was stopped for just about 1 full year. And in one of Universal's recent earnings calls, they said that was something they wish they hadn't done. If they could do it over, they would not have paused construction. You see here in the bottom right corner that tree farm. That was a tree farm they had in the early days of construction there. And this also gives you a good idea just how big the property is. So that road in the very back there is Sand Lake Road. There's a total of 750 acres here. The current Universal Orlando Resort is somewhere around 715 acres. So this piece of property is slightly bigger. And you can see there is a water treatment plant there. Now we're going to fly back over again. This is on the same day, June 10th, 2021. And this is a camera that's mounted to the helicopter, but it gives us a different angle here. We're going to go back over that tree farm again. But one thing to notice here, there's a huge wooded area on the right-hand side of the property on the eastern side. And that is property they do own, but they are unable to develop. Now we're going to jump ahead here, come back to present day. This is earlier this week, Monday, October 3rd, 2022, and you can see they have made a ton of progress since the last time I flew over the property. You'll also notice that there's a lot of flooding that has taken place here from the recent hurricane. Hurricane Ian passed through here last week. The view we're looking at from this angle is we're facing east, and we're on the west side of the property. Looking at the property again from the south side, we'll zoom in here. I do apologize. Some of the footage is a bit shaky here. It's quite hard filming from a helicopter. You'll see here the two lands on the left-hand side, they've made a ton of progress on. And the one in the very back and the right, they have as well. So we have Super Nintendo World here on the left-hand side. In the bottom left corner and above it is Universal Classic Monsters. You can see the central hub there. You can see the water there, and then you can see the spot for the Grand Helios Hotel. And on the right hand side, that is the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. That is rumored to be a Ministry of Magic attraction, though as of right now, the only confirmed land is the Super Nintendo World, which has already been announced. But this is video of Super Nintendo World that's located in Japan at Universal Studios. Though with some of the permits they filed, they've given us a really good idea of what these lands and attractions are going to look like once they're all built. Here's the Ministry of Magic This is what it looks like in the Harry Potter films, and is rumored to be the flagship attraction in the new Wizarding World land. Now we'll take a look at a couple photos here. Huge thanks to BioReconstruct for allowing me to use a few of his photos for this video. Now we'll look at this second photo. You'll notice here in the center of the photo there is a portal. This is a portal that leads into the new Wizarding World of Harry Potter land. There's going to be a portal like this that goes into every single land in the park. You can actually see one in the center of this photo here. This gives you an idea of just how big those ride buildings are. You can also see a lot of flooding here, but you can see the portal going into the Universal Classic Monsters land here. And we'll pass over it again here on the far east side of the property facing west. You can see just how wet the ground is, and it's flooded in quite a few areas here. You can also see up in the top left corner it's flooded pretty bad up there. On our way flying to and from the airport in Kissimmee, we could see a lot of flooding all over town, and there were a lot of roads that were closed, that were completely flooded over. You could see cars that had gone too deep in water and had to be abandoned. Now we're looking here on the top right corner. You can see they've built a building there for Universal team members, and this is on the far northern part of the property here from the right over, and this will be all a backstage area. You'll notice here these yellow pieces are pieces of the roller coaster track for the Dueling Coaster. This photo is also courtesy of BioReconstruct. Now right here on the far edge of the north side of the property, you can see two giant warehouses that they've started building. And again, the road that is on this side here on the right is Sand Lake Road, but we'll get a good idea of just how big these warehouses are. You can see we are flying literally right over them here. You can actually see my jeans in the bottom right corner there. Now that's the Lockheed Martin building on the right there. This is where they're extending the street, so you'll be able to drive down here eventually. And the arrow is pointing out, I believe this will be a pedestrian bridge if I understand correctly. Now we're looking again at the property from the west side. We're facing east, and you can see where that road is going to be down there at the very bottom. And from here, just taking another look at where everything's going to be located. And it's really looking like from this point that the Super Nintendo World will be the first land completed. But they've also made a lot of progress on the Wizarding World section and the Universal Classic Monsters. You can see again here as we zoom in the portal that's being built for the Universal Classic Monsters land. And of course right in the center is the hub. Now these black rectangles are where the street is going to be built. And once again, this is looking at the park from the south hand side. We're facing north. We'll zoom in again here just to get another perspective of the park from this angle. And from this angle you can see all the cranes they have out there. When you're standing down on the ground, even half a mile away or however close it is you can get to it, you can see all those cranes from various parts of Orlando. It's pretty interesting to see. And this photo shows you where it sits in relation to Icon Park over on International Drive. And now we're making one last pass over the resort from here. And this is a really good angle we had here where you can see almost the entire park as we pass over it here. Notice all the water and all the flooding that's taken place here. I'm sure that set them back a bit. Hopefully it didn't damage things too bad for them. It did do a lot of damage here in Central Florida though. And there was serious damage done over on the Gulf Coast and other parts of Florida. Now we're going to fly over the Universal Orlando Resort. This gives you an idea of what it's like flying in a helicopter, just how high up we are. And you can see we are flying with the door off. They typically will let you take the door off if you're taking photos or video. So you can see here, if you notice on the side of the Jurassic Park River Adventure building, there's a big hole that was knocked there from the hurricane. And you can see they have it patched up here. They've actually, in fact, already reopened the ride since this video. Now, as we pan out here and tilt the camera down, you'll notice that the Dudley Do-Right Ripsaw Falls has been drained out completely. I'm not sure if it underwent some damage from the storm, but it has been closed since the storm and the park reopened. Now we'll just take a look at Velocicoaster from up here. And we'll zoom out, and this will give you a good idea of just how high up we are. I think at this point we're somewhere around 700 or 800 feet in the air. But it's very interesting to fly over the park and just look down on it, and you know, if you look down close enough, you can see people down there. And that's going to conclude the video as we make one final pass by Epic Universe here. I want to give a huge thank you to BioReconstruct for allowing me to use some of his photos for the video. And I also have to give thanks to Alicia of Theme Park Stop, who has done an incredible amount of research on Epic Universe. And I will leave a link to her channel below. That is where a lot of the information as far as what lands and attractions are coming to the park. So I will leave a link both to BioReconstruct and to Theme Park Stop down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.